Hello everyone, welcome to the Northland Artists Conversation. My name is Mark Kelly. Thank you very much for joining us. It is the hot time of the year. Welcome to summer. For those of us that carry a few extra pounds, it definitely is the time for a lot of sweatiness. But that's okay. We're all individual, and that's what we celebrate here, is everyone's unique and individual personalities. So if you're joining us for the first time, thank you very much for checking us out. We do appreciate you. Please make sure you follow us on our socials and on Facebook and YouTube and all that sort of good stuff. We are now over 200 subscribers, which for us is actually a huge milestone because we've done this very organically. So if you're one of those subscribers, thank you so much. We really do appreciate it. The more the merrier. That's awesome. I'm going to flick to my camera now. Today's guest. You know what? This is one where there's a lot of laughs, and then it just takes a little bit of a dark turn, but then we come back to more laughs. And it's so when we do these podcasts, I have no idea how they're going to go. I have no idea where we're going to end up or kind of how things are going to go. Sometimes we'll just talk, and then we'll get from point A to, wherever the artist is now. But today's one, when I sat down with our guest, it was important that I think we covered off a few things. You know, we've had some amazing guests on here. We've had people open up and talk about, mental health struggles that they've had. We've had international guests talk about some of the mental struggles that they've had. And, not everyone's journey is the same, and it's really important that we remember that. Some people kind of go through life, and everything's fine. Some people kind of hit, barrier after barrier after barrier after barrier. So this is kind of one of those in-between things. It's a podcast I have a lot of respect for the guest, especially with everything that they went through. When people go through challenging times, they'll either rise up or they'll find themselves kind of having a rough life. So our guest today was able to rise up and continue despite the adversity they faced, and we threw a challenge at them. And they've accepted. So make sure you get all the way through the podcast. It's absolutely amazing. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the Northland Artists Conversation, Scotty. Funny, see, because everyone, when we clap, everyone goes, "Oh, have we started?" It's like, well, yeah, we can, but because I've done the clap, we can also sync up the previous audio and video, and then go back and then have the clap, and then go forward and then work it out from there. But I guess because you've done DJ work and stuff like that, or TV work as well, yeah, then you kind of know that that's the clapper board, and it lets the editors know when to get their shit together and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'd sit there because they did a sports segment, so I was a floor manager for that.
Oh wow!
So I'd sit there with my cards, keeping an eye on the time, and you'd look at the clowns on the couch, and you'd put up your board to say 2 minutes left, 30 seconds.
Yeah.
And they're sitting there, they're still gas bagging. I'm going.
Yeah.
And they're like,
roll it up. Let's wrap it up.
And I'm sitting there going.
Yeah. Time.
And they're like,
time.
And then you get off, you're like, oh, fuck, you guys are useless.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I guess that sounds like an appropriate place as any to start.
Yeah.
I'm Mark.
I'm Scotty.
Hey, Scotty.
Hey, man.
How are you?
I'm good, and yourself?
Look, let's be honest. We're shooting this in December. The fan isn't working. It's hot.
It is.
I'm sweaty.
Yeah, me too.
The door's open, but I've had to keep the curtain closed for continuity purposes and not allowing natural light to come in. But it's going to be we'll get through this.
We will.
Just know that we're both going to sweat equally together.
That's all right.
Yeah, I thought so. Hey, thanks very much for coming in and sitting down with us, man.
You're very welcome.
This is very cool. I mean, this all kind of came about in a couple of weird ways. You were on Graham Lee Main's Facebook page, the Iwi Project.
Yep.
And if I remember right, editor Lee J was like, I know Scotty.
Yep.
I should ask him. At which my response was, why didn't you think of this sooner? But that's okay. That's okay. You know, Editor EJ is new. They're still teething. It's a process.
And you got to save the best till last.
You do. Admittedly, we're going to have one more.
That's all right.
No, actually, well, I don't know if we will. We're going to have to. So we have to work it out. So, okay. So the rapid fire that we'll do at the end, which will come out first, that will come out next week, and then the full podcast will come out 2 weeks' time, which will make it the... What's the date today? The 4th?
Yep.
The 5th. It's the 5th. So that's the 19th. And then we'll have our... So we're going to try something different this year. So normally we would do like a year in review, and we kind of go back and touch on some of our important guests. Appropriately, not inappropriately. But I think we might also do like a year in review... rapid fire as well.
Oh, nice.
And then that will come out on the week of Christmas, and then we'll have the week after, and then we're going to try and get someone in new. So, yeah, this will actually all structure itself out quite nicely. Nice. So, very cool, man. Now, we always like to sort of start, where did you come from? How you became creative. So let's start there. Was your household naturally creative?
No, not really.
Okay, like anything?
Oh, we'd try.
Okay.
You know, like growing up, you'd have these projects from school that you'd have to come home and you'd do big block letter titles and this kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah, I remember those.
Yeah, that kind of stuff.
With the lettering book?
Yeah.
Hell yes, man. Those things were amazing.
Yeah. So, you know, stuff like that Mum would give me a hand with.
Yeah.
And sometimes we'd be working later into the night sometimes and whatnot, because I was one of those people that would always leave everything to the last minute.
A pressure performer?
Yeah.
Did you do well?
Yes.
Yes, I'm the same. Deadline performer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I continued that all the way through, even through North Tech, getting my bachelor's as well. So
no.
Yeah.
Stop it. What was the best mark you got?
I think it was for my poster that I did on American Horror Story. And I think
Very
it was an A-.
A-. Respect.
Yep.
That's pretty mean. I think the highest... We're obviously jumping ahead here, but the highest one I ever got when I did my drama stuff was I got 98%.
Oh, wow.
For an essay that I wrote the night before on the author John Milton, and that was funny. My tutor was like, "This is some of the most insightful work I've ever seen. Well thought out, blah, 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 blah. Great use of references. You know." Going back into the past, but also the modern times as well, and they're like, "This is exceptional work," and I was like, "Man, that's good for 4.5 hours of me getting to sleep at 3 a.m.
Oh yeah,
thank you very much.
Yeah.
Okay, so not really the overly sort of creative. What did Mum and Dad do?
So Dad started off. He was a butcher by trade.
Oh wow.
Yep. And at the time, Mum was just stay at home, look after kids.
Okay. So you've got siblings?
Yeah, I've got a sister as well. She's 5 years younger than me.
Nice. Very cool.
And so, Dad would get up and go to work. And at the time, it was funny. You'd hear him leave for work because he owned a Mini.
Yeah.
Let's just say Dad wasn't a small guy. So you see this big guy and this little Mini.
Yeah.
And the noise that would come out of that thing.
Yeah.
Because where we lived, it was only about a couple of minutes drive to where he worked. You could hear the Mini all the way down. Pretty much when he parked, you could hear it turning off.
Yeah.
And so he was there for years and years and years until he found out on 6 o'clock news that night that everybody had been laid off.
Oh, that wasn't the Mad Butcher, was it?
No.
Okay.
I can't remember if it was AFCO or Whittle Crown or whatever it was. But this is going back in the 90s.
Yeah. Actually, AFCO feels about right.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
And so...
Mid-90s?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. No, I think I remember that as well. Yeah. Okay. Sorry, carry on.
Right. And so from then on, he went into more of the foodie trade.
Oh, yep.
So he was working at where did he go? He was working at places like Edith Griffin's up here, so packing all the trucks and sending them out.
Oh, yep.
Yep. He knew the owner of the business, so he's working there.
Yeah, nice.
Then he went to Foodstuffs, and he's doing the same there.
Yeah.
And he loved it. And Dad managed to get one of my mates from school a job there as well.
Oh, wicked.
Afterwards, so that was really cool.
Yeah.
And then from there, he ended up at Pack and Save, and then he was there for 14 years before he did his shoulder in. Yeah, and they couldn't keep his job open any longer for him, unfortunately.
That's tough. Yeah. And
so he was there, and then 4 years ago, on the 24th of September, he passed.
Oh, very sorry for your loss, man.
Thank you, yeah. So it was a bit of a hard time, but we were actually on term break at Northtech at the time.
Right, okay.
And so I got told by the tutors, if you need more time off, just take as long as you need.
Yeah.
I was back there the first day back because I just didn't want to be moping around the house.
Yeah, grief affects people in different ways, right? Some people, they just need the time away. They don't want to be around people. Some people just want to plow on in and do the work, right? I think, and then there's the everything in between.
Yeah, so I just put my head down, my ass up, and just went hammer and tongs.
Nice.
And just did as much work as I could. And I had a great support system at Northtech as well. Yeah. Friends and also the tutors were fantastic.
Yeah, nice. And you know, having a support structure behind you is always really important, especially during moments of real crisis.
Yeah.
So when you were a kid and you were doing the lettering and stuff like that, did you have any other inclination around being creative at all, or was it just?
I like putting stickers on things, making things look pretty and cool and whatnot, and making them look interesting and not just plain and boring.
Right.
You know, because you get handed in, and if it looked plain and boring, you didn't really want to put your name to it.
No. If it's just words, it's boring, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You need some pizzazz.
Exactly.
Yeah. Because you and I are about 8-9 years apart.
Yeah. So I'm 38.
38. Yeah. Oh, damn it! Shut up, editor Lee J. Quite in the cheap seats. Damn it! I thought I was going to get away with it. All right. So I'm 11 years older than you.
Yeah.
Quiet.
That's all right.
Don't laugh. This is not the interactive podcast that you were invited into. We just totally go off script. Okay, so essentially, you know, with you doing stickers and borders and lettering and all that stuff, that's kind of the gateway into
pretty much was, I guess.
Graphic design, yeah. You know, because you're essentially taking material that could be relatively boring and essentially putting a spin and a presentation on it, right? Yeah. Okay. Okay. What was school like for you?
It was interesting.
Great choice of words. Curious to dive more into that.
So, you know, with me being the way I am with my disability.
Okay. Right. So, for people are watching, people that are listening, what is your challenge and barrier that you face in life?
So, the full name for it is thrombocytopenia absent radii. Don't ask me to spell it.
I was going to say, can I buy a vowel? What's the layman's terms for it?
TAR syndrome.
TAR syndrome?
Yep.
Like TAR?
Like TAR syndrome.
Really?
Yep. So that's what they abbreviate it to.
Okay, all right, that's its abbreviation. Yep.
It's not thalidomide.
Thalidomide.
Yeah, it's not that.
Okay.
So I do get asked a lot if it was.
Right.
But Mum was never given that.
Okay.
So it was just her and Dad's genes.
Oh, they came together and not the gene sequence didn't splice itself together, right?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
And I think every time they had a child, it would be the chance of having a child with TAR syndrome would be 4 out of 100.
Okay, so 1 in 25.
They had 3. All 3 had TAR syndrome. Unfortunately, my little brother didn't make it.
Okay.
But
your sister's got it as well.
My sister has it as well.
Wow, crazy.
But I'm special.
Yes, you are.
Yeah, we know that.
Absolutely.
You shut up too.
Editor Lee J, that's far too much involvement for you in the podcast. I will ask you to please refrain from making any noise.
Because with my TAR syndrome, I've actually got what they call the short arm TAR. So my sister's arms are longer than mine, and her hands go up the other way.
What?
Yeah.
What do you mean go up the other way?
So you see mine.
So yours are out.
Yeah, mine are pointing down.
Down and out. Yep.
Yep. So hers are up the other way.
Do they face inwards and point up?
Yes.
Oh, crazy. Wow.
Yep. So she's the long arm tar. I'm the short arm tar.
Right.
Yep.
Okay. And I'm guessing school was challenging for you because you got all the jokes, right?
Yeah. Well, you know, the old bullies and whatnot.
Kids are brutal.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
But I've always had really good friends.
Good. Yeah, man.
Even going back from at kindy.
Oh, nice.
So, and most of us then went on to primary school together.
Yeah.
Then intermediate.
Oh, you kind of went all the way through.
And
dude, that's so lucky, man.
I was unfortunate because I went to Pompelia, and that was because
I think that's just unfortunate in general.
Yeah, I know. But in saying that,
stop laughing again.
The reason was because the most of the school is flat, and it was going to be easier for me to access.
Oh yeah, okay, makes sense.
Yeah. So that was the reason why Mum and Dad sent me to Pompelia.
Yeah.
But let's just say I made some fantastic friends there.
Yes.
And we're still friends to this
day.
Wicked,
man.
And they're more like family than friends. And so they'd come round and they'd call Mum and call Dad old man and whatnot, and we'd go out on the piss pretty much nearly every weekend.
Yep.
And we'd come back home and then the cheeky buggers would go and sleep in my bed, and I've got nowhere to sleep, and I'm sitting there trying to probably watch the Warriors, and I'm falling asleep.
Plenty of room on the couch, man.
I know, but the buggers would take the bed before me.
Well, first and best dressed.
Yeah, I know, right? You can't help it.
You can't. It's mates.
It is.
Okay, do you think the decision to go to a co-ed school was better than going to a single-sex school?
I think so.
So there's a few reasons I asked that question. I went to a single-sex school.
Yeah.
I went to a school that was very driven by rugby and cricket.
Yeah.
Cricket I was moderately okay with. Yeah. Rugby, no, I was terrible at it. I played soccer.
Yeah.
I was really good at badminton, but I was a drama nerd. And in a school that placed such a premium on sports, the taunts were brutal. I was the second tallest in the school, so I had everyone trying to take me down a peg or two.
Yeah.
But yeah, kids, man, brutal. And that was early to mid 90s.
Yeah.
You know, when we didn't have any of the PC stuff that we do now. But then in saying that, we didn't have social media either.
Exactly.
So there was no cyberbullying, thank God.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm guessing for you, having gone to a co-ed school, was that like, irrespective of the type of school and whether or not it fit your belief system, probably a huge blessing.
Yeah. But yeah, some of my best friends that I've made at that school were also female as well.
Yeah, cool.
You know, so one of them, she actually moved down to Palmy North not long after we finished school, and you know, we spent the day together, and as soon as she left, I just bawled my eyes out.
Yeah.
Then I saw her wedding photos a couple of years later, and I was just sitting there at my laptop and just bawled my eyes out because, you know, I couldn't go.
Yeah.
And Mum's like, "You all right?" And I showed Mum's like, "Oh."
Yeah.
And so, but, you know, it's just the friends that you make that become family. And the teachers there were just fantastic as well.
Yeah.
I went through surgeries when I was at Pompelia as well.
Okay.
So they had to, what did they do? They corrected my legs, so they straightened them some more.
Straightened your legs?
Yeah, because when I was born, my feet used to bow in.
Oh, they bowed in with an instep as well?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And so did the knees.
Yeah,
so it took them about 18.5 years worth of surgeries to correct them to get them to how they are now.
Yeah, because boots wouldn't work, would they? No, because, having an instep, you would normally get boots to correct them, but if they're bowing in as well, that's kind of tough, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the left foot, I actually wear through shoes a lot faster because I walk on the outside.
Oh, on the outside. Okay. Right, so it's not fully corrected, but it's a lot better than what it was.
My surgeon at the time is one of the leading surgeons in the world who works on people with Down syndrome.
Okay.
And he said most of them in the States end up in wheelchairs permanently.
Oh, wow.
and his goal was to keep me on my feet.
I was going to say, is that because of his surgery?
No.
I'd hope not.
No.
I was going to say, possibly not the best surgeon of the world if he puts
No.
them in wheelchairs.
No.
No. Okay, good.
But,
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, his goal was to keep me on my feet
Yeah, cool.
as long as he can.
Yeah.
And after I left him as I grew older,
Mm-hmm.
The next surgeon I went to, he replaced my left knee because my
Oh,
left
right,
knee
yeah.
was getting really bad, real painful.
Yeah, like I imagine the tendons and the cartilage and the ligaments would be, not kind of aligned how they would. Slightly deformed. Is that the right word?
Well, when they took the knee out,
Yeah.
I actually asked the surgeons what it looked like, and his reply was, it was skanky.
Skanky.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Great use of the word. I can conjure up that image already.
And apparently they were sending it to the Auckland, I don't know what it was, but people are going to be studying it and looking at it and getting the juniors to look at it and stuff like this.
So it's become a teaching piece.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, nice, man. That's wicked.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go back to high school, because I'm guessing that's kind of the formative years for you, yeah? Did you discover graphic design and bits and pieces like that then?
Yes.
Oh, okay, cool. So, how would you have done it? So, you'd have done third form and fourth form? Or were they the years? Year 7 and 8? Or
So first and second form I was at Whangarei Intermediate.
Oh, yep.
And then from
Third and fourth form.
third to seventh.
Pompalia.
Yep.
Okay. So when did art become a subject that you could start looking at in high school?
Oh, God.
Yeah, because every high school's different.
Yeah.
And usually your third and your fourth form, you can go, well, I'll do a bit of art.
Yeah.
Because it's like you do English, math, science, the broad stuff.
Yeah.
You might do art, PE, and then
Science.
social studies or something like
Yeah.
that. When did you kind of hit your stride in terms of going, I really want to focus on the art route?
I think it was probably fourth form, possibly.
Oh, yep.
When we started drawing more like 3D stuff and bookshelves and this kind of stuff like this.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I started to excel it, and I was like, this is actually really enjoyable.
Yeah.
And it just went from there, and then, me and my mate would sit there and in other classes and just like pretend to draw our own like Digimon and stuff like this, and instead of actually doing the work,
Nice.
you'd sit there and draw your own Digimon and whatnot. So we were little shits, to be honest, but it was fun.
Okay, so you hit fourth form, you're starting to really dive on into the world of graphic design. Is that much of a thing? That long ago?
Oh, not really, to be honest.
Because was it more just art in kind of general?
Pretty much.
Right. Okay.
And it just it wouldn't lead you anywhere, to be honest.
Being an artist.
No, like the art side of being at school.
Right. Yeah.
It just wouldn't lead to anything afterwards.
Yeah.
So what did I do? I think after that I ended up at TAFE for a little bit.
TAFE.
Yeah, it's like an Aussie thing. I got the rest of my computer skills.
Oh, okay, right.
And stuff like that.
Like online computing courses and stuff? Yeah, okay.
So they had a TAFE building in town, so I went there for a while and got that.
Yeah.
And it was, 18, I think? Yeah.
Okay.
And then from there, it was just bits and pieces here and there.
Yeah.
And then 2005,
Yes.
I think, or 2008, one or two, I did my diploma in digital multimedia at North Tech. So
that had actually become a thing by that point. Yeah. Man, that was a while. That took quite a while to catch up.
Did.
Yeah. Wow.
Especially up here.
Was digital multimedia kind of a thing
in Auckland? It was because the tutor I had at the time.
Yeah.
Said that she had been down in Auckland as a student and she'd done her stuff down there.
Okay, right, yeah.
So it just seems that it took forever to creep up to Whangarei.
Okay.
Which, it's understandable, everything else does too. So.
Yeah, well, it's interesting because I went to EIT, Eastern Institute of Technology, which is in Hawke's Bay, and I remember there being a graphic design course. Now, for me, this was 99 in 2000, 2001. So, oh wow, that's crazy. Yeah, I wonder why it took so long to come. Well, maybe there wasn't a need for it or any type of market or anything like that.
Possibly.
Yeah.
But then there finally was.
Yeah.
And so I jumped on that, and that's when I got introduced to Illustrator and Photoshop.
Yeah, Adobe, yeah.
And that's going back to CS6.
Yeah, oh, yeah. Man, that's going back.
Before the curvation tool.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was a struggle back then.
Yeah.
But, you had to make do with what you had.
Oh, man, I remember those days. They were horrible. I remember using Adobe Photoshop and you had to use Lightroom wasn't a thing.
No.
So Photoshop you used for photo, like I did it for photo grading and stuff like that. But it was so painful. Mm-hmm. Very painful.
Yeah.
Far out.
I think one of the things I did is I was using a wheelchair and I had to try and cut out everything that was between every single spoke on the wheels. On the wheelchair.
Oh God!
Oh mate, it was horrible. It was time consuming.
Yeah.
I got it. Yeah. I got really good marks for it too.
Yeah, nice.
So that was the main thing.
Have you pretty much studied your whole kind of career, or has there been jobs smashed in between there?
There hasn't been jobs.
Okay.
There's been a lot of study.
Yeah.
And I think it was after I got my diploma in digital multimedia.
Yeah.
I then got my certificate in journalism.
Right, which does that lead to the next stage?
No, not really. It was something to do at the time.
Okay.
And I was looking at maybe going into writing for maybe like the paper or something and doing sports stuff.
Oh, yep.
But they never eventuated.
Okay.
But I still got the certificate, so it's all right.
Yeah.
It wasn't a waste of money, so it was good.
So now you have also, we were talking off camera, but you were also like a floor manager for
Channel North.
Channel North. When did that sort of start up?
So that was when I was doing my diploma in digital multimedia. And
okay, so around 2005.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And we were informed at the time by our tutor that there was going to be a local radio, TV station, starting up in Whangarei, and that we were to come up with ideas and we were to film it and edit it and have a weekly or 2 weekly part to ourselves.
Yeah, wow.
And so we did.
Okay.
And we called it the Lunchbox.
Okay, I have to ask.
I don't know how the hell it came about.
Alrighty then.
It was probably just a weird-ass brainstorming session with us in class.
Yeah.
Let's just say we were all a bit of crackpots at the time. None of us were sane.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was just fun. That was the fun part.
That's where the joy comes in, though, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But here's the funny thing: we couldn't decide how to host the show.
Right.
So we decided on a Barbie doll and a Max Steel figure, a doll as well. So like an Action Man, but different.
Okay, yep.
And
I'm interested to know where this is heading.
Myself and one of the other students were to voice them. But we had to give them names as well.
Right, so Barbie and Max were...
No.
Okay,
no.
So I'm very curious to know, what were the names?
Okay, so I believe the Barbie doll was Holly Gives Head.
I don't know if we've ever had anyone say that on the podcast, but yeah, carry on.
And I cannot remember the name.
You're never going to remember the dude's one.
No, I cannot.
It's Bob.
I can't remember
with
what
his best friend Neil.
Yeah. But yeah, it was just random as. And Christmas time special. There they are, both of them sitting in a Christmas tree, and we're just doing the voiceovers for that.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
How long did the show last for?
So we did it for a year, and then I think they continued it for a little bit longer.
Right.
But then I don't know what's happened, and as of now, I don't even know if Channel North is still a thing.
Yeah, I'm to be honest with you, I'm not entirely too sure either. I don't even know if they are. I don't know what their new name is or what they go by.
No, neither do
Yeah,
I.
that's tough. Okay, so that was during your graphics.
Yeah.
And then we did the journalism stuff.
Yeah. But going back to that, they also chucked me on as floor manager for the sports show as well.
Right.
So that was hosted by a couple of guys from Sport Northland.
Okay.
And so I was the floor manager for that.
Yep.
And we just went from there. And because I'm sports mad.
Right.
Absolute sports mad.
You are representing at the moment.
I am.
Yep.
Yep.
In my other job, we are a sponsor.
Nice.
This year we had jersey number 15.
Oh, the fullback jersey.
Yes, we did.
So that would have been mainly... Oh, who played fullback this year? I'm trying to think. Oh, Jordan Trainer.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah. A diversion into sports.
Sorry,
They're creative people.
I missed the half of the season this year due to being sick.
Yeah, there was shit that happened along the way, right?
Yeah, exactly.
We'll get to that.
Yep.
But you've done your digital design. Yep. You've done your behind the scenes work for a TV station. And then you segued into being a DJ as well. Well, okay, not a DJ, but a sports broadcaster.
Yep.
Whilst doing
everything else at the same time.
What did you have? What time period was that? And then how long was all of that for?
So,
because it does sound like you had like a very busy life.
Well, yeah, at some points it was.
Yeah.
So it was. I was doing this show every Saturday morning at 9 o'clock
on
Magic Music.
Magic Music.
Yeah, which is a local radio station.
What's it on the dial?
Oh, I wish I could remember, to be honest.
Cool. AM or FM?
FM.
FM.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
And so it would be about half an hour normally. But then as the seasons would start to go on, it could creep over the half an hour. And then my time slot went from pretty much anywhere from 9 till 10.
Right, okay.
So it was a good hour.
Nice. Editor Lee J, could we possibly throw a graphic up here? If possible. Can I get a thumbs up to say yes? Yes, I've got a thumbs up. Good. Be nice. Let's support local, right? They do. I'm sure they do a good job. Okay, so how long did you do... Now, how long were you doing that for?
Up until... I think it was my second year at North Tech. So it would have been 2021, possibly.
Okay, and when did you start it?
When I was 19, and I'm now 38.
38. So if we go back 3 years, that makes you 35, and you started at 19, that means you were doing it for 15 years?
Yeah, that'd be about right.
Holy shit, man.
Yeah.
That's okay. To put a little bit of context in that, that wasn't like the only thing you did. You'd gone to the design school.
Yep.
Which is where you met Editor Lee J.
Yeah, it was.
And then, in her infinite wisdom, she said, "You should follow me. I am your spiritual leader." And then you guys went to North Tech, right? Yeah. Okay. At which point you guys were in the last year of
graduates.
For what course?
For the Bachelor of Applied Arts.
See, that's bonkers, man. I can't understand why a course like that would be killed.
Yeah, I know.
I'm sure there are better people that are smarter than me that will have a reason for it. I'm sure it comes down to money. But that's really... Okay, I will ask you a question, and this is a question I've asked some of our other guests this question. Why is it that you feel that when cuts need to be made at a school level, whether it be primary, secondary or tertiary, that the arts is always the first one gutted?
Probably because they don't believe that it's going to take you anywhere. Which is absolute rubbish. You look around town, and there is art everywhere.
I'll be honest... I haven't used calculus in quite a number of years. Yet I'm a creative person. Okay, Wow, that's bonkers. All right, cool. So, design school, how well did you do?
Well, I graduated from there as well.
Well, like high, low, just
probably in mid-range, I'd
okay.
say.
So not scrape past by the skin
No.
of your knees. Okay, cool. And
No, that was the Bachelor of Applied Arts.
I was just about to ask that one. Now, how did that go?
Oh man, let's just say third year was a bitch.
Really?
Yeah, it was just jam packed.
Okay. All right.
And I spent, I got crook that year as well.
Right.
So I was in hospital for about nearly a week.
Yeah.
With pneumonia and whatnot. And
Okay. Wow.
then
I'm going to remember that, but carry on.
so we had an essay due.
Yeah.
And the tutor at the time, she came up to the hospital to visit me, and she bought me a whole bunch of crunchy bars, which was awesome.
Outstanding.
I know. And she said that I would have extra time to do this.
Nice.
So I was like, sweet. I got home and then finally managed to sit down and do it. It was that bad that I didn't pass the essay.
Wow.
Yeah, because I was just all over the place, still trying to recover.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so she said, you can either redo it or you can talk about your work and make up the marks that way.
Huh.
So I talked about my work and made up the marks.
And because you've done radio DJ work,
It was easy enough for me
a
to do.
lot easier.
Yeah.
Like, so you could have delivered something that was, I believe the young kids say mid.
Yeah.
Can you please confirm that, Editor Lee J? Is mid the correct term? Can I get a thumbs up? I'm getting a thumbs up thrown at me. Mid is the correct term. But then because you're, I'm going to throw out a fucking $50 word here, you're relatively loquacious. That means he talks a lot and well. That kind of gave you the lift in the grade that you needed, right? Yep. Okay, wow. And then that was end of 2023?
Yep.
Okay. Now we're going to cut to 2024, and some interesting shit happened. If people, we'll only we won't dig too deep into this. Yeah. If you want to know more, I highly recommend having a look at Graham Lee Main's Facebook page, the Iwi Project, having a search for Scotty, because there's quite a lot of information in there. Yeah. Okay. So you said you had a week off close to graduation in 2023, right? Yep. And then that was for pneumonia, amongst other things. Yep. Now, in 2024, you ended up back in hospital.
Yep.
But like you had pneumonia again.
Yep.
But then you went for the upgrade package.
Yeah, I did.
You did. It's like you got pneumonia. That was the standard game, and then you got your DLC codes.
Yep.
And you were like, I'm going to get
influenza A, and while I'm there, I'll have an asthma attack.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, it's probably important to. I think a bit of a trigger warning for some people, because shit's going to get real really fast. And what we're going to dive into is not a like we might be able to have a bit of a joke about it, but it is actually very, very serious, right? Yeah. Okay. You ended up in a coma.
Yep. So apparently it was the early morning of the 24th of August that all this went down, and they rushed me straight down to ICU.
Yeah. Because your mum had taken you into ED, right?
Yeah. So no, I'd actually got an ambo up into ED.
Right. Okay. But it was for something that like
I just felt
it was like you were well.
No, I could feel it in my chest that I wasn't feeling the greatest.
Yeah.
And at the time I was also a heavy smoker.
Okay.
And so, going outside in the cold, having a smoke wasn't the best idea.
Traditionally, no.
Yeah. And so because my sister's mate, she lives with us as well.
Yeah.
So I got her to call the ambo.
Yeah.
Ambo turns up. Yep, sweet. Get me downstairs, up to the hospital.
Yeah.
And then I kind of remember bits and pieces of being in the hospital, being in ED.
Yeah.
And then Mum said, yep, she bought me some dinner. I didn't eat much.
Yeah.
And then they left. And then all the shit hit in early hours of that.
So you went downhill really fast.
Yeah, within good, 4 hours, 5 hours or something.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's actually insane.
I was in the right place for it to happen.
Best place for it to happen.
Yeah, exactly. And so they took me down and they put me in a coma.
Wow.
Mum came in the next morning. They pulled her aside and told her that at the time I was a dying man.
Yeah, wow.
And that I was on a ventilator at the time.
Yeah.
They were doing everything they could to keep me alive.
Yep.
And they actually decided to get hold of Auckland Hospital.
Yeah.
And they were asking all these questions about me that Mum had to answer.
Yes. Yep. Well, not like you're going to be able to go, yep, no, definitely.
Exactly.
Heavy smoker.
So, like height, weight, was I active, and all this, my hobbies and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And they saw something in me that was worth saving, because the A team from Auckland don't normally come up.
No.
And these are doctors that are...
Well, they're legends, right?
And
they're
all
best
different
of the
nationalities
best.
as well.
Yeah.
And so they flew up with an ECMO machine, which is an artificial lung machine, because mine had just decided to take a break and go on holiday.
And now, bear in mind, these are your lungs had just packed up and left, right?
Pretty much.
Okay.
So they come along, and it took them 3 hours to attach me to the ECMO machine.
Yep.
And then they flew me in the chopper back down to Auckland Hospital.
Right. You're still in a coma, yeah?
Yep. And Mum and them had already got down there. They got down there before I did.
Yeah.
And so they were down there for about 2 weeks, I think.
Yeah.
And with the ECMO machine, they were worried because only 6 out of every 10 patients come off the ECMO.
That's not good stats.
No. So I was lucky that I was one of them. And so my lungs did start working again.
Yeah.
Which was really good. And so once I was able to breathe a lot better, they took me off the ECMO. They pulled me out of the coma, which, oh man, that was weird. It was the hallucinations. What you think was there is not.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we laugh about it now at home.
Yeah.
I thought, because at the time it was towards the end of the NRL season.
Oh, yep.
And the Warriors were, I think when I crashed out, I think they were heading towards the top 8. And I didn't know what had happened. And I thought that they had got through to the playoffs and they were playing the Sharks, who had just beaten the Storm. And I'm like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
And the tickets were going on sale because it was going to be played in Auckland.
Yeah.
And I thought for some reason the Warriors were sneaking into my room and injecting beer into my drips and stuff like this. And, oh, mate, it was just bonkers, eh? I told Mum, and she nearly pissed herself laughing, to be honest.
I can't say I blame her. That is, but that is hilarious.
The amount of the amount of drugs I was on, the highs that I was getting from them was bringing on the hallucinations and everything. So yeah, to find out what was real and what wasn't afterwards, we still laugh about it.
Okay, so you're on the most glorious cocktail of meds ever to keep you alive, and you're seeing some of the most gnarly shit that you've probably seen, apart from if you'd ever done shrooms or anything like that. Yeah. Was there a point where you actually died?
I don't know. I'm not 100% sure.
Wow.
Yeah. But they do say that when you die, you see a loved one or like a bright light or the light flashes before your eyes.
That's it, yeah.
Yeah, I saw my old man.
Okay.
And he just told me to fuck off.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which I thought was lovely because that was him to a T.
Right, okay, sorry, yeah. Because obviously your dad had been passed
4 years.
4 years.
Yeah.
By that point, and he's telling you that, I'll put it politely, it's not your time, son.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whereas he said it a lot more succinctly than I just did. Okay, so you were in a coma for 2 weeks and then you came back out. How long was the recovery period afterwards?
Well, so they started taking bits and pieces off me and whatnot and everything like that. And I think I still had the trachea in.
Yeah. You were a tracheotomy, man.
Yep. Still had that in.
Yeah.
I still had the 2 feeding tubes in.
Okay, yep.
And then they finally decided to fly me home. I was well enough to fly home so that they could...
You were in Auckland this whole time? Wow, okay.
And then so they flew me back up here. And I was up here for about another week and a half or so, I think.
Yeah.
I spent my 38th birthday in ICU. up here. Not the best place.
Could be worse.
Yeah, exactly.
Could be a lot better though.
Yeah.
Barbados,
But,
Fiji.
you know, it was all right. Mum and my sister tried to do the best that they could.
And you have to, right? Yeah. You know, when a loved one comes that close to death, the best thing you could do is just have it as a life celebration almost, right?
Pretty much.
Now, what was your total time that you were in hospital, man? Because you're talking weeks.
I think it was somewhere between 3 to 4 weeks.
Damn.
Yeah.
Far out.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, you've been out for how long?
Since the 17th of September.
Okay. So 3 months.
Yeah.
Give or take. Okay. Have you been able to return back to your graphic design and stuff like that? Are you back at a business as usual, or has the recovery period been a little bit slower?
So to start off with, when I came out of the coma, it was really weird. I couldn't even play PlayStation properly because I had lost the movement. Some of the movement in my hands.
Muscle atrophy?
Yeah, from being in the coma.
Yeah.
And so playing PlayStation was actually one of the best things that I could do to help me regain that movement in my hands.
So what you're saying is, to increase your PlayStation gaming time, become unconscious and end up in hospital. Now, we're not condoning that as a way to get more quality time on the PlayStation. But it seems very rehabilitative.
Yeah.
Rehabilitative. It's a lot of tivs in there. Because obviously it works on motor function skills, coordination, reflexes as well.
Exactly. I was playing Assassin's Creed.
Not an easy game at the best of times.
Exactly. Which one was I playing? I think I was playing 3. Yeah, at the time. Assassin's Creed 3.
That's not Valhalla, is it?
No.
Valhalla's one of the later ones, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah. All right, okay. And but you have started doing a little bit of graphic design, right?
I have.
And what are you sort of touching base on at the moment?
So at the moment, next year my nana's turning 100.
That is a huge congratulations.
It is.
That's a massive milestone.
Yeah.
Letter from the king.
Yes, hopefully. So, but Mum decided to volunteer me to create the invites for Nana's 100.
Isn't Aunt Mum's lovely?
Yeah, I know.
They're the gift that keep on giving.
I know. My mum, she's amazing.
Yeah.
And so she's decided to just throw me in at the deep end.
Okay.
Which is fine.
Yeah.
So I've been going back and forth with one of my cousins.
Yes.
And I think we've finally decided on a design that might work.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So instead of a 21st key looking design on the invite, we're going to you can do it as 100.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah. So, and I'm looking at maybe going with black and gold.
Okay.
They always work well together.
Great colour scheme.
Yep. And then I think we'll flip it over and all the info will be on the other side of the invite.
Yeah, nice, man. That's a wicked idea.
Yeah, so...
Okay, all right.
My cousin's coming up this weekend, so I'm going to be able to just sit down and talk to her
about
it.
Some ideas.
Yeah,
and
brainstorm. So
yeah, 100%.
Really, really good.
Have you ever, had your art out in the public sphere?
Yes. It was for the first Fringe Festival.
Ooh, the one they just had this year, what number was that?
Oh, I can't remember off the top of my head. 2, 3?
I'm thinking the same thing. I can't remember if it's the second one or the third one. So the one they had a couple of years ago, a mate of mine entered the KY wrestling competition.
Yeah.
Did okay. He probably needed to watch more WWE. And then they've had the one this year, but I can't remember if that was the first year or the second year.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Okay.
Either.
All right, so you did some work for that.
Yeah, so I did up some singlets. We screen printed some sayings and so forth onto them.
Yeah.
And I managed to sell a few of those.
Nice.
And it was the same with the end of year exhibition at North Tech for the Bachelor of Applied Arts.
Yeah.
I did a whole lot of sayings that were applicable to myself and disabled people.
Very cool.
and most of them got sold. So that was
Very
really
nice.
cool.
Okay.
And now, because I've got the cricket maker,
Yes.
I'm hopefully next year going to start making more and more and put them aside till I've got plenty where I can take them to a market and hopefully sell them.
All right, cool. Okay, so I'm going to put you on the spot here. You can say yes or no, but I'm just going to throw an idea at you and see what your thoughts are. All right. So for the last 2 years, I have been the MC for the Rayburn House yearly calendar competition. This year, 2024, I was asked if I would also be one of the judges. And I got to work with some wonderful people, including Vince Cockerello, the mayor, and Olivia Garolja from Creative Northland. And it's not usually held until like the Q3, sometime in Q3. How would you feel while everyone's watching and listening about submitting a piece for the Rayburn House calendar competition for 2025? Just as a challenge.
Yeah.
Just to throw yourself out there. See what sticks.
Yeah, that could be quite interesting, actually.
The only reason I ask is because so for me, and I know this is the case for a few other artists, when you've been creative for a long period of time and then you kind of take a little bit of a break, it's kind of really hard to motivate yourself and get back into the swing of things. When I moved to Whangarei, which was 9 and a bit years ago, I moved up here to be a more active parent to my son.
Yeah.
So I couldn't do things like I couldn't do plays, I couldn't join a band or any of that sort of stuff because I wanted to make sure my son was young. He was 4 the day I got keys to this place.
Yep.
And I wanted to make sure that I could spend lots of time with him. But then I met producer Andrew, who you briefly met when when you guys turned up. And him and I kind of connected in a way, and I kind of threw an idea out for this podcast, and he came on board, and it's kind of been our passion project ever since.
Yeah.
But it took something like that for me to really get back into the swing of things. So if you feel like you could commit yourself to something, good thing is Rayburn House Art Gallery are huge supporters of the podcast as well. We've had the mum and dad. So Rebecca Cunliffe runs Rayburn House, and we've had both her parents on, and they're both potters. They're very, very cool people. But they're always looking for new artists that are tucked away somewhere. And the cool thing is they've had a lot. This year they had a lady who'd done this absolutely amazing digital art piece, and digital art is actually becoming more common.
Yeah.
So I submit to you, sir, as a challenge, if you will.
Yeah.
Would you be game to submit something? Now you can say no. Listeners or viewers will be like, well, fair call. Mark's a dick. He's put you on the spot. And that's fine. I am a dick. That goes without saying. But would you want to try and have a crack at something like that? Because that'd encourage you to get your name out there and to be, once again, see if you can find your passion.
Yeah. I think I would actually like to have a go at it.
Good for you, man.
It will help me just get me back in the game pretty much and get me out of this funk.
I know, right?
Yeah.
When you're in a funk, it sucks.
Oh, no. Like, I've been throwing ideas between myself and my cousin for the last few weeks, and just like nothing's sticking, and I'm just getting really pissed off, to be honest. And it's like, oh.
Frustration levels get really high.
Yeah.
You get angry with yourself. Yeah. It's like, why can't I get shit done?
Exactly.
Cool. Well,
and
there
then
we go.
Procrastinate.
Yeah. I'll get around to it.
Yeah.
I'll do it next week.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll do it the week after.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe
what's this? Oh, I'm sitting here playing PlayStation.
A month's time after that. Look, I've just got this game.
Yeah.
Just I need to clock these levels.
Pretty much.
It's any excuse we can, right?
I know. It's
so
bad.
Cool. So I will class that as a podcast exclusive.
Yep.
Scotty, you are going to commit to submitting a one minimum piece to the Rayburn House calendar competition for 2025. Lee J, I believe that's a round of applause. Dude, that's very cool. Hey, look, thank you so much for coming on. This is going to be awesome. I'm going to have you back on closer to the time so we can talk about the piece and, how the process was and what you went through. It would be awesome if you were able to bring it in so we could have a look at it as well.
Yeah, awesome.
Mint. Very cool. Thank you so much for joining us, Scotty. Really appreciate it, man.
Thank you very much.
Well, there you go, everyone. That was Scotty, bit of a local legend. Turns out I knew him or knew of him before the podcast. It was actually really cool to be able to have him sit down in the studio across from me and just be able to talk and learn more about him. With each podcast, I always like to, at the end, reflect on one thing that I've kind of learnt from each guest, whether it be things about some of the potters or the painters or the circus people that we've had on, the musicians, the actors, people behind the scenes as well. There's always something that I learn from everyone. Today's podcast, for me, the one thing I learned is resilience. And that is hugely important, for someone like Scotty, having tar, shorthand tar as well. I think I've got it correct. Shorthand tar, but having this a wonderful group of friends that were there to support him, and they were always there for him going through to high school, and going through the challenges of having to have surgery for some of the shorthand tar side effects as well, and getting some things corrected through to him almost passing away 3 months ago. And the fact that he's still here, he still came in, he still wanted to sit down, have a laugh with us, but be open about everything. Resilience is key. I'm going to flick to my camera. So a real testament to the human condition. And if ever you're feeling down or that life's getting a bit too much for you, there are support services available. 1737 is a service that we support here. If you ever need to talk to someone, but Scotty is a testament to the power of just never giving a fuck and never stopping and always just moving forward with positivity and drive. So very cool. Thank you very much for joining us. So where can you find Scotty's podcasts and all of the other cool things that we do? Well, I'm going to flick you through all of the details now. For the visuals, you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. All Northland Artists Conversation. It'll be somewhere around here. Is it here? Up here? Somewhere around there. Might be around there somewhere. Anyway, for audio, you can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube Podcasts. Google Podcasts has been long gone. It's dead, it's done and dusted, so you can find us there as well. Again, pew pew, it'll be right here. And if you know someone that you think would be really cool as a guest on the podcast, even if they don't come into the studio, we can do it remotely. We have the technology to be able to do it. We can do some very cool video sessions and set up all that sort of stuff as well. Or if you yourself would like to come on, maybe if you're a new guest or if you've been on before and would like to share something new, please contact us at hello@northlandartistsconversation.co.nz. I don't know why I said it like that. Strange things sometimes. I'm going to flick back to the wide. So there we go. Yeah, it's an interesting time. We're doing this in the month, early in the month of December, so this will come out probably sort of pretty close to Christmas time. But it's the time of year. Think of your friends, think of your family, think of your loved ones. Remember, don't place too much stress on yourself at this time of year. Some people fall into the trap of, I've got to have the perfect gift, or I've got to do, the perfect meal. It's more about having the people around us that we love. That's the most important thing. So just remember that, guys. Okay, if you've made it through to the end, thank you very much for checking us out. We really appreciate it. Have a fantastic Christmas and a wonderful New Year's. We'll be back in 2025. We've got some cool things just in the last couple of weeks of December. My name is Mark Kelly. On behalf of editor Lee J, who is behind the computer, producer Andrew, thank you very much for joining us on the Northland Artists Conversation. We will see you guys real soon.